This week I wanted to talk about trademarking your logo and some of the basic things to consider. If you've invested time and money into developing a brand, then your business will usually want to ensure that no one else can copy the branding. You can protect the business by seeking trademark registration in the UK, Europe or worldwide. Trademarks in the UK are registered with the Intellectual Property Office, or the IPO, but in order to become registered, the logo or word or slogan needs to meet certain requirements set down by the Trademark Act 1994. So what is a trademark? You'll often see the word trademark or trademarks, brand used interchangeably. Brand and branding is used by cooler marketing types, whereas trademarks are used by lawyers like me. Both refer to the device, sometimes known as the sign, used by a business to differentiate their goods from other companies. And they can even be a logo, stylized word, or just the words themselves. Interestingly, the word branding, brand, literally comes from a time when herdsmen would brand or mark his animals to distinguish them from his neighbours. And now, of course, we brand products to show that this particular product originates from company X, Y, or Z. Successful brands are often really simple. If you think about Apple, for instance, and a brand can be a name, a label, a slogan, a jingle, simply the distinctive packaging or the get-up in law of a product. Brands often communicate information about the products or services beyond the actual product. So, for instance, we look at the branding, we decide that something is has more quality, luxury, or it's cheaper, and those kind of things. So, branding is really important. So, what type of trademarks are possible? So a trademark can consist of a variety of different things. So it could be a word, for instance, so Jaguar for cars. It could be a slogan, so Nike's Just Do It, for instance, as a trademark, which is a slogan. It could be a design. The harp on a Guinness is a design that could be trademarked. Letters, for instance, RBS in banking services. You could have numerals, 501 genes for Levi's. You can have internet domain names, Amazon.com. You can have the shape of their goods or packaging, provided that it's not linked to a container or its function. You can even register trademarks for smells, sounds, like the Intel jingle, colours, gestures, such as the double tap on a jeans, like Asda's registered, and moving digital images as well. And basically, any sign which can be represented graphically is potentially registerable as a trademark. So the question might be, why register a trademark? So registration of trademarks allows the brand owner to protect themselves against competition. Without registration, an owner must rely upon the common law of what's known as passing off. They're much more difficult cases to bring, they're more expensive, and they're time-consuming to run. Upon registration of a trademark, the owner gets a statutory right to the exclusive use of that trademark in connection with the goods or services in which it's been registered. So registration of a trademark gives the owner the right to sue for trademark infringement if any person being an individual or a company, uses an identical sign for identical goods, an identical sign for similar goods, a similar sign for identical goods, and in some cases a similar sign for similar goods. So the question you might be asking is, can we just register anything as a trademark? Our logo, your logo might just be a simple image with a standard font on. Is that something that can be registered? So in order to be registerable as a trademark, the mark itself must meet the requirements set out in the Trademark Act. So they need to be distinctive. That is, it needs to be capable of distinguishing itself from other brands. It needs to be able to be graphically represented, i.e. you can write it or draw it down on a piece of paper. It can be a 3D shape, as long as that's not the function of the object or a container that it's within. It can't be merely descriptive, so you can't say sporty for sports goods. It can't be deceptive, so calling something gold, for instance, if it's made out of metal, would be deceptive. It can't be a common surname, can't be a geographical name, there's some exemptions to that. Usually can't be a national flag, again some exemptions. And crucially, it must not be similar to an earlier registered trademark. There is a risk then that if you seek to register a very simple trademark with an icon and a name, that might not be registerable as it wouldn't be distinct or novel. And I see quite a few people that have maybe done some branding themselves on Canva, for instance, Adobe Spark, and it's just not quite unique enough for it to be registered as a trademark. So what if you use a standard font, something like Roboto or Calibri? Can that be registered as a trademark? And the answer is yes, you can register a trademark, which is just the company name or the product name in a stylized mark, stylized text, providing it meets the requirements that I mentioned earlier. The question that you've got to look at is, though, is the license, or does the license for that font allow you to exploit it commercially? So, for instance, I mentioned Roboto, which is a common font that appears to be used, and that font license allows commercial use. It's under the Apache 2.0 commercial license, therefore allows you to use it commercially, and therefore it's likely that you'll be able to get that registered as a trademark, providing it meets the other requirements. So the next question then is, how do you register a trademark? You've got two options. You can either do it yourself through the Intellectual Property Office, or you can get someone like me, a trademark lawyer, to assist. Doing it yourself through the IPO is potentially a little bit tricky and a little bit risky, although it's reasonably straightforward. The point is, if you make a mistake, you cannot edit the trademark once it's been submitted. The other point about trademark registration, it's really important to get the right classes, the classifications correct, again, because you can't edit it at a later date. So an application to the IPO in the UK needs to be made. They then examine the application to ensure it meets the statutory requirements mentioned earlier. And if they consider that it does, then they will publish the trademark for a period of opposition to allow other trademark owners to contest the registration. After the opposition period, if it's been unopposed, then the trademark will proceed to be registered and you'll get your registration certificate. So when registering a trademark, as I say, it's most important is to specify what goods and or services the trademark is going to be used for. There's around 45 different classes of goods and services, and it's important to get it right. Each class itself has hundreds of different subclasses. For example, you might be a business coach who wants to register your name and your trademark. You want to use that because you're selling some business coaching. You might be selling some books. You might be teaching online. You might be doing some other things like merchandise, etc. And therefore, there's a few different classes that you might want to register in. You probably won't be able to register in all 45 classes, even if you wanted to, because you need to demonstrate a real intention to trade goods and services in each class. And moreover, if a trademark is not used for a 5-year period, then it risks being invalidated and cancelled for no use. A question that I've had a number of times from entrepreneurs that want to conquer the world is, can I register the brand, the trademark, worldwide or Europe-wide? And the answer is, of course, yes, you can, and I can assist with that as well. So European trademarks are dealt with by EU IPO, the European Union Intellectual Property Office, and there's a way in which you can apply for what's called a community trademark. It's a trademark which provides coverage in the whole of the European Union. It's a relatively simple, straightforward process, and the rules as to trademark registrability is pretty much the same as it is in the UK. Seeking a trademark registration worldwide is expensive, but it can be done. It requires a separate application in every country that you want protection in. And so if you're a truly global brand, you probably won't mind spending hundreds of thousands of pounds to do that. My experience tells me that most people think they're going to conquer the world, probably best off registering in the UK or maybe Europe to start with. So that's that. A little bit of information about trademarks. If you are unsure about anything on trademarks, you want some assistance, I can help you. I am a trademark registration lawyer in Leicester, although I work nationwide. I have lots of clients that need help on trademark registration, and I also help them with their trademark disputes. So if they've got a trademark and they want to stop a competitor or somebody from using it and trading on their using their trademark infringement, we can help there. And equally, if you've received a cease and desist notice, as they're often called incorrectly, telling you that you are trademark infringement or any kind of intellectual property infringement, then again, I can help you. My name's Stephen Mather. I'm your business lawyer. My website is www.stephenmather.co.uk. Thanks for watching.